We are live.
Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap, along with Signature Transportation Group. Cousin Donnie has a birthday tonight, so we have a special guest tonight filling in for Cousin Donnie. He goes by the name of our boy, Mr. Sam Rogers. Hello, Sam. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Well, I think long distance cousin, maybe a couple times removed.
Yeah. That's okay though. It was awesome to have you on tonight. I know this is your holiday today with Ash Wednesday, so we definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be a co-host tonight, my man.
Yeah, thanks for letting me do it and get a little Iowa talk maybe even in the meantime as with Don.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get some Iowa talk going, and I think the biggest thing here tonight too is just do a quick recap about the Iowa weekend, right? We were out at the Iowa Hall of Fame a couple weekends ago, and talk a little bit about the weekend. I mean, I know Donnie and I shared our opinions last week, but being from Iowa, what did you think?
That was cool. I mean, that was our first ever in-person banquet for our Hall of Fame inductions, and kind of taking that from you guys because obviously your guys is a huge success over there. So kind of following your guys' footsteps and having a whole night to kind of honor those guys and those teams that are getting inducted. But it was good. First one went really well. I think we had about 170 people show up, which for us was pretty good. That was a good number for us, we thought.
Oh yeah.
But it was good to have you guys down and help support that and show that a little bit. So that was good. It was good to see you guys down there.
Yeah, the event as a whole, when we pulled up, I thought was something that I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but by the end of the night, I felt like it was really honestly a perfect first night to have something like what you guys put together for the awards. I felt like the way it was run was perfect. The speeches, a lot of the things that went on. Having less people inducted, I think, was a really cool thing too. So it wasn't like 47 people inducted like the Chicago one is.
Gotcha.
So that was an eye catcher for me too. Just being able to kind of be able to have a speech and not be cut to under 3 minutes because you have so many people being inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? So that was a really cool thing. And I thought that a lot of those guys that went up on stage did a fantastic job. I know Peanut was your guys, call it host for the night.
Yeah, he's our MC. Yeah.
Yeah. So he did an awesome job too. And so really quick, I know we got a bunch of Iowa guys jumping on right now. You got Mike, our boy Chad. There you go. Chad, we were just talking about you, Chad. You finally gave a compliment to the old to the Hall of Fame squad. So we're gonna get into that here in a minute. Welcome, Joe Duran, Mr. Dustin Pearson, Heather. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys watching the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show. Tonight, Mr. Sam Rogers filling in. So, Sam, what are you most excited about tonight? I know our guest is Will, but personally sitting in the chair where Donnie usually sits.
I got.
How you feeling?
Well, for sure. I was taking a little heck from Cody and TJ on my team. There's a little debate if I should try to make my hair look as good as Donnie and you, or if I should try to hide it. So,
I didn't even gel it tonight. Look at it. It's just no haircut. Just out there playing the game. You know what I mean?
no, I'm looking But I always love coming on your guys' show and helping you guys kind of promote this because it's obviously a good thing for softball. So it's cool. It's fun for me.
Yeah, no, and I think tonight is going to be a really cool night. Um, our guest Will Russ, his family's been a part of softball. I've played with his dad, his uncles, and even his grandfather was a coach of ours at one point. And I think Will now is a young guy in his 20s. I call him the cooler killer as of now, but he's going to be stepping into his playing days here very soon. I believe he's going to be a backup pitcher this year for the flashback team.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to hearing, busting his balls a little bit, hearing what he has to say about this flashback team, but also, about him personal self too, because we're going to let people get to know really who Will is tonight for those that don't. So what are you most excited before we bring Will on?
No, I think I don't know Will real personally. Like haven't got the opportunity to talk to him, so excited to kind of get to know him and get to know some of the flashback guys type thing and kind of see what he's all about.
Drew Ladick just made a comment for those that don't know. Uh, he made a comment about Will as the guest. So there's a good inside joke about Will out in Yuma. We had a guy, his name was Will, just happened to show up at our house and slept the night. Somehow we fed him alcohol, and sure enough, he was the guest. But his name was Will. But no, Drew, this is not that Will. This is a better looking Will, and Will Russ. So why don't we get out to Will? Anything else you want to mention before we bring on Will about Iowa? I'm sure Will's going to bust your balls about Iowa anyways.
It's all right. No, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, buddy. Let's get to Will here. Let me get Will in the middle of the screen. Look
I,
at that.
I
Look at
wasn't
that.
gonna bust. I wasn't gonna bust his balls. I was gonna bust your balls, Jim. Just because when me and you were at the Chicago Hall of Fame, I filled in for Donnie, and we had great reviews, and we interviewed a lot of people.
Yes,
And I didn't get an invite to go to Iowa from you, so I got a little. I got a little mad,
That's a
No,
lie. You got an
no invitation. I could have been a guest host. I could have held the camera. I could have been a part of the crew, but I wasn't.
Dude, so you come on the show lying right through your teeth that you weren't invited to Iowa. I don't
Yeah,
know how this is gonna go tonight, Sam.
Out of it. That's between you two.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to tonight talking softball with Jimmy and you, Sam, and let's have a fun night. No beers tonight. We're drinking water. So Mickey Valestri still gonna have. Oh, you too. But Mick Valestri still gonna have the ranked in first with what? Did he knock down 13 Miller Lights in that show?
At least it was
At least.
And how many bathroom break?
And how many? Yeah, one piss. What? We have one piss.
One piss and 13 beers.
Yeah.
So, Will, before I ask you questions, why don't you say happy holiday to our boy Sam Rogers? Today is
Happy Ash Wednesday. I had my ash here up earlier. I went around 5:00, but it's gone. But I heard,
same here.
Yeah, I heard Jimmy made an appearance at church today too. So we're all being Catholic today on Sam's holiday. So we got to take advantage.
Perfect.
So Will, let's talk about you, right? I mean, everyone knows that you're Bobby's son, you're the Russ family. But let's talk about Will Russ. The people that don't know Will, I know I call you we call you the cooler killer in the fall, but talk about Will. Talk about what how you got started in softball. As many of us, I know, but give the fans what they don't know, right? So
yeah, so I'm 22. My dad, uncle, grandpa all played. My brothers play. I mean, I just grew up around the game and always been around. A little kid going to tournaments. I probably became the cooler killer when I was 16 years old, probably going to those park leagues, probably around Nicky Gatta's cooler of the traffic team was when I probably started doing it. But got brought up, started going to flash games regularly when I was probably 15 or 16. I mean, my dad stopped playing full time for flash in like 2013, 14, right around Randy when my uncle stopped playing. So kind of there was a break there where we'd only go to like Forest Park and Nationals. We wouldn't go to league games and tournaments because I'd be playing travel ball with my brothers would be playing travel ball. So missed a little bit of my dad's playing time most of in his prime because I was more of a kid. But then when Ryan joined the team in 2018, started going to more games because he was playing. My dad was coaching third, running the team with Jibs. So that's kind of when I got back into it and I've probably been at I show up to a lot more games than a lot of those starters do. So especially the outfielders. So so
Playing
no,
time.
so that's that. I mean, playing Melrose and Forest Park. I mean, I played in Brooks Park this year for the first time at Unlimited, pitched in that league. It was fun with Nicky Gatta, Ryan, my two brothers. So that was fun. But then got into broadcasting, as you know, Jim. So this year was first year we were out in Yuma. You asked me and Timmy after we lost a horrendous game in the quarterfinals, wanted that umpire. Let's just say Joe Scamacey wasn't happy with that umpire.
Yeah.
So we went did me and Timmy did the games for you guys, Jim, the slap and tickle team, and you guys ended up losing. I don't want to remind you, but you guys did lose that championship game out in Yuma. And
Yeah,
then
we went for the three-peat, so you guys were happy we didn't get the three-peat. I know.
yeah, and then we went. I think me and you did Papa Hops as well. We broadcasted the championship game,
Yep.
caught the eye of a couple people, and then I got asked to broadcast for the SSA the rest of the year and did that and was at all the tournaments. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and unlike people we know, I didn't cut you off of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show.
I
Notice how you're
still
welcome to
I'm
come back.
here. I'm here right now. So I
Yeah.
think that counts for something. Yeah.
But hey, but you know what though? Going back to Yuma and then into Papa Hops, I thought in Yuma, obviously you were with Timmy. You guys did a great job, a lot of humor with it.
Oh, we also did the Nicky Lopez tournament too.
I
I
was
think you guys lost. I think you lost in that championship game too. So it was the 0 for 2, Jim.
thanks, Will. Maybe you shouldn't be filming anymore.
That juju.
So the what I was going to get to, I was actually going to give you a compliment, but now I'm not. The Papa Hops today, when we filmed and had a great time, we were filming games all over. I thought that the whole atmosphere, and not only that, but just the excitement that we even said it after doing the games, how much fun we had announcing. They even announced us on the mic, remember, on the
Yeah.
over the intercom. So that was really cool too. And I just felt like all together, every time you and I were together, even at the Hall of Fame, it was awesome too. So
Yeah, no, that was fun, and we got to give a shout out to Kyle for he was the beer runner for that Papa Hops. He was bringing over 4 to 6 beers every 30 minutes, so got to give props to Kyle.
the producer,
Yeah, the producer.
that's
Yeah.
what we call him. Yeah. So that's good shit. But I want to get into my first question. My first question, and I know it's very similar to kind of some of the other questions I've asked in the past in regards to, but I want to talk about the flashback team and kind of like what you're most excited for this year. I know that you're going to be stepping into somewhat of a player's role this year and some levels. So let's talk about the flashback team and kind of what's your favorite stuff about the team, what you're most excited for 2025. Give us a rundown on that.
So the team is coming back, as you guys probably know. Zoe is not coming back. PJ Rains is coming with the team. Me and PJ are pretty tight. Me, him, and Moji hang out all the time. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Zoe is a good teammate. Gonna miss Zoe. He's been on the team the last 4 or 5 years. Me and him always got along. Slot partners once in a while. But we're gonna miss that. But the team is coming back, and I think something that's going to be key more this year is the attendance. I think the attendance is going to be higher. I think players are going to, because if you look on the roster on the sheet, there could be 13 or 14 guys that are starters on that team, and there's only 10 or 11 spots, right?
Right.
So I think guys are going to go out there and compete for positions. I think every spot is going to be key to, winning. And last year we had a really good year in Westchester, and then signature Donnie could have rubbed it in tonight, but he's not here when they went on that run in the Midsummer Classic. And then Forest Park obviously was a great another one looking for the three-peat that's going for this year. And then Rismondo, obviously, you guys know, double dipped us in the nationals, but this year I think is going to be different. I think the attendance, I think last year we took a huge step in the leagues. We really struggled in the leagues, just, losing games during the week that cost confidence on the weekends. So I think leagues last year really improved us in the tournaments. I think the year before in 2022, or it's 2023. I don't think Flash made the final four of a winners bracket in the winners bracket side, always coming out of the losers bracket going into Sunday. which sucks. I mean, you guys both know coming into the losers bracket going into Sunday takes a lot to win. So last year, all 5 tournaments made the winners bracket final four, won 2 of the tournaments, took second in 2 of the tournaments, and then took fourth in the other one. So
Yeah.
that's the key. So staying in the winners bracket is going to be, like you guys know, just keep staying in the winners bracket.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And you mentioned cousin Donnie, so we I don't know if you want to sing happy birthday to cousin Donnie, even though he's not.
I think cousin Donnie. I hope he makes a late appearance on the show tonight. I don't know if I don't know if I got any pipes to sing him happy birthday.
He might make a late appearance. Okay,
Yeah.
he's at church right now. Sam sent him to church so Sam can come on the show. So, right, Sam?
Oh yeah, there's hope for him to come back later. But
All right. So, what else about this Flash team before I hand it over to Sam for Sam's first question for you?
Um, I don't know. Are you, Jim? Do you want to ask us about a certain player in particular, or like, you're trying to get me like? I think I think we talked about it earlier. I mean, as me, I mean, I think playing wise, I mean, you're gonna have Jibs and Moji, 2 of the best pitchers in today's game, and they're going to be playing. And then I'm going to be there just in case, to pitch maybe a league game here or there in tournaments if we got a hit for them twice or something.
Yep.
Myers pitched before as well, so like there's options. I mean,
Yep.
it's just you've seen it in the last couple of years with how they do the moves when Jibs emoji. Very rarely, if one of them's not in control of the game, they're swinging twice for them, and the other one's coming in.
Right.
So that's just the key. I mean, I'll be there with losing Zoe. Zoe pitched a lot last year. I don't know if he was supposed to pitch a lot, but that's just how the dice is roll. In the big games, flash 45s or signature 45s are playing in the winners bracket, and it's a high scoring game. Both teams are hitting. You see Baytall do it with signature. Not really much with the 45s now that you're going to be on the team. So now they'll have the option. They'll have a couple pitchers, but a lot of these teams, you got to have a couple pitchers to win.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I mean, 2 or 3 pitchers on a team is definitely crucial when you look at it, because you are throwing the ball underhand, right? Guys do hit hard sometimes. Things happen, as you well know. So, no, that's good stuff. Good feedback on the flashback. Sam, over to you, my man. What do you got for Will?
So in Chicago, I feel like it's a lot different kind of than Iowa. I feel like a lot more turnaround players and rosters and that kind of stuff. League nights kind of being important for you guys earning starting positions. Do you think that's like you get invited, you bring someone new to flashback? Do you think that's kind of with the intention they think they're going to walk in and start, or is that a pretty normal thing where you're for a starting role?
So I think my dad and Jibs, when they meet with the players, I think they, kind of, they'll let them know how it's going to be going into the year. I mean, I just think, there's 13 or 14 guys and there's only going to be 10 or 11 spots. And it's going to be tough. And I think all the players know that. I think the returning players know that. And league games come down to, Jimmy knows, most likely everyone shows up to a Forest Park League game. Most likely, unless it's a 9:15 and someone, a lot of guys don't like the 9:15 games. Melrose is a completely different story. Melrose is kind of the B League. You go there, you play, you're guaranteed a doubleheader, you get the games in. So to keep players happy, if they're not playing in the Forest Park League, they're guaranteed at least 6, 7 at bats in the Melrose League because I probably pitched 5 or 6 games at Melrose last year just because we were really short guys. Emoji might even caught a game. Jibs might have caught a game. Just how it is. Jimmy knows. Hex was probably grabbing guys last year from 4 or 5 different teams just to fill a roster. So that's just kind of how it is. And I think just how you sell to improve your team is you got to guarantee the guy to start the year and then see how it goes. Because I think you could probably put a returning player maybe on the bench to start the year because maybe they started the year before that on the bench and they came into a starter's role. So that's just how I'm looking at it.
So really quick, before we get to the next question, I want to get out to the fans. We just surpassed over 100 people watching live through all the sites right now. We had Dustin Pearson, Becky Strelo. So I know Becky, Moji's girls.
Sorry, Becky. I think she might be a little mad at me, so I got to apologize to
Nikki Francis, Greg, Jake McTeague, your uncle Randy Russ.
Oh,
So good story about Randy's one of the main guys who, when I was young, your age, playing on Flash with them and Maxim and all the stuff that we used to
yeah,
do. He's the one of the guys that taught me how to cut, which is
yeah,
I think he did it in like 5 minutes,
yeah.
and
No,
and
he's
he
got it.
was deadly with it.
Yeah,
So he was incredible. So yeah, so obviously want to say hello to Randy. Randy's would be an incredible guest for the future too. He's always
yeah.
got good stories.
No,
But
he does. And if you got him, if you talked him into it, he probably would come on. But just another like my dad. Like when I started becoming older, he was retired. He was like coming towards the end of his career because he was coaching his kids. So, like I never got to see him and my dad play it like when I was like, you know, old enough. Like 10 years old. Like when I was a kid, but never like as a teenager.
sure, when you had your first Miller Lite at 10, right?
Yeah, yeah. First
That,
Miller Lite. What's that park in my first softball Miller Lite? I think what was the in Hotchkins? It was in the parking lot of Hotchkins. I don't
oh
know
yes, the
when
Hotchkiss.
they used to have like the Westchester League. They used to have with Jose Godinez. That's who it was with. So
But
yeah,
that's so Sam. That's a really good question though, because Flash has, as Will said, 13, 14 guys to keep all those guys happy throughout the year. But I mean, it seemed like last year, Will. I mean, just from outside looking in, Flash really had, I think, I mean, pretty regular show up guys, and then there was always like two or three guys that were mixed in at the end, which were technically starters, but just
yeah,
certain guys weren't there, and you're filling in with starters. So you really didn't miss a beat too much.
yeah. You lose Pish like after Forest Park because he's coaching his kid in football. So he's 50-50 just to show up to nationals because he's either got a game on Saturday or Sunday. Vito, I think, was working. Vito works crazy hours. So, you had a couple guys that step up. You can always move, like, you can move Mike Meyer around.
Yep.
You can move Justin around. So, I mean, it's just,
I'm,
you gotta, and with the glove, I mean, I'm a fan of the glove. I don't know if we're going to get into it in a different topic or if we can talk about it now,
yeah,
but
it
I,
was actually going to lead me into the next question with our boy Sam on. So
so Sam, I'm a fan of the glove just because I think it was in major nationals a couple of years ago. And I hate to bring it up. Did you guys get double dipped in that major national?
BTA double dipped
Yeah,
us.
VTA double dipped. But the fact that I think the
who
eight
is
teams,
this guy, Sam? Talking about us losing all the
no,
time.
I, it's I think the 8 teams or 4 teams left in the winners bracket was like Impact, Menace, Hall of Fame, and BTA. And I
Mhm.
don't think either of those 4 teams in any other tournament. I mean, Hall of Fame only played in no gloves, but we're in the final 4 or final 8 maybe in the whole entire Westchester North South no glove. So I think if out of any of the tournaments, if you want to get into nationals, is the one you can compete and win.
Yeah.
I mean, we, it's pretty much the same in the 5 tournaments, in the 4 tournaments, the no glove tournaments. It's pretty much the same 4 or 5 teams in the finals, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So I think the glove nationals gives every team a fair chance. As much as people hate playing with the glove or without the glove, I don't mind it in that tournament because, like it said, any team could go out there and there could be an upset like Dynasty had a bad year last year, but in Nationals, I think they were a game or two from getting in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Just things like that.
Yeah, I think like for the Iowa perspective, it's kind of hard here. You really just have us Chucks that are like playing, right? I mean, the majority of games are I mean, games with Hall of Fame.
Hey, hold on, Sam. I think we're losing you a little bit.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah. So Sam, just hop off really quick and come back on. I'll bring you on.
All right.
So what he was saying though, really quick, is, uh, the whole thing about the glove, right? I think you're correct because we already have a no glove national.
Yeah,
That's Forest Park. I like the glove too. I do like the glove because it's a different game. It's totally a different game. And when you think about it, it does allow those teams kind of at that mid major, lower
yeah,
level to really have a chance, right?
yeah,
Go ahead, Sam.
Better? We're working?
yeah,
Yeah, a lot better, my man. So go ahead and finish your question.
So I was just saying, like, for us, I mean, like, obviously, no glove's the big thing for you guys. And quite honestly, I think for us, for Chucks, I mean, like, that's our goal, right? Is to no glove, is to make no glove national. But, like, to get to there, up to that point, it's a lot tougher because we don't have tournaments without it. Like,
yeah,
we South or midsummer, we get one tournament. Let's say we don't do well, we get 3 tournament no glove games before we walk into no glove
Yeah.
nationals, and that's a game changer. Then, like you're saying, the gloves are definitely equalizing. Probably benefit for Iowa teams come nationals because we have all the tournament games with.
Yeah.
But like ultimately for us, like I can confidently speak for Hall of Fame, and I think Bucks too, in the sense that like we wanna compete at No Glove Nationals. That's the goal. It's just preparation for that. It's tough. It's a game for us and for big time Chicago teams walking.
Well, I mean, Old Timers a couple years ago finished third
Yeah,
place.
I was just gonna bring that up. Yeah, they had that run, and the funny thing about that story is, I think it was Saturday, like at 4:30. I was talking to Cracky and Chad Harold. If you lose on Thursday or Friday on one side of the losers bracket, you can win at like 9 a.m. and 2:30, and then you're done till Sunday. Then the
Mhm.
other side's got to play that 8 or 9:30 game. They got to do that 5 hour delay, Jimmy. And I remember talking to Harold and Cracky of Old Timers, and they were telling me, they're like, I want to see the end of this tournament just once. He's like, because Harold's like, he never stayed to Monday. He's like, I just want to see it once. I want to finish it through next year. I want to see it. And the funny thing is, Flash 24 hours later, they knocked Flash out to get to the get back game. And I'm just like, holy shit, he was just talking about this
Yeah,
24 hours ago, and now they're a game away from the championship. And I think they lost the highlight. They got walked off. It was a great back and forth game.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's just a cool moment, I thought, by Harold, just, talking about how he wanted to stay to it, and they were a game away from the ship.
I think that's probably one of the best weekends an Iowa team has had. Like one of the best runs an Iowa team has had in Chicago ever. I mean, that's the best finish an Iowa team has ever had at No Glove Nationals, and
Yeah.
memorable weekend for those. But I mean, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool to watch repeated, but then also seeing Iowa that week.
So, so let's switch the subject. I know that the gloves are always something we talk about, but let's talk about something. Will, question for you is, what is something in softball right now that kind of bothers you about the game of 16 in softball?
Leagues. I think leagues are just like, I don't think, do you go to tournaments? Like, I know, Jimmy, I'll probably be the whatever show this on, bring it up on how you talk about Saturday ending tournaments. And I'm not against it. I just think no gloves should end on a Sunday. That's the only thing I'm
Yeah,
for. And I think Danny Atkins had a great idea last year, but it got with weather for the North South. He was going to have a band out there on Saturday night, and people would have stuck around. And sadly,
yep,
the weather got involved. And going back to leagues, I just don't think. I think leagues after Forest Park either don't play them or play every game with a glove. I think it's stupid that every game after Forest Park isn't played with a glove,
right.
because you're not playing without a glove in any other tournament or anything that matters. I know Melrose does that glove tournament. Pat Caputo runs with the 10 teams, but even Forest Park, I think, finished early last year because they had the whole renovation and everything. But
Yep,
I just think leagues are just, you hear about, like, when you were more in your prime, Jimmy, and my dad and Randy, they said they would never miss a game, and
yeah.
100%. And you would, and the fact is, you didn't just almost, if you missed the game, you might find yourself out of the lineup in the next game. I don't think that's accountable in today's game. I just think people walk on water, and it's so be it. I mean, people, I think it's allowed now, and people take advantage of it, I think.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I think, like, going back to your first point with the Saturday thing, I don't think that every tournament should end on Saturday. I think, I would like to see it happen because I think it'd be better for the game. But
Like a Westchester. I think a Westchester.
or even a North South, right?
Yeah.
Like, have different formats every weekend that we play. And that's the one thing, like, if you go back and watch the Chris Guerin show, he kind of brings it up about how good of a point it is, right? Where every weekend is not the same tournament, same double elimination.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why we like Yuma so much. We go to
Yeah.
Yuma,
You
it's
put yeah.
full play, right?
Yeah.
Even Iowa, they do a different format. It's triple elimination in Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you think about like the different formats of tournaments, but here in Chicago we do the same bullshit, double
Yeah.
elimination. every tournament, and we pretty much get the same results in almost every tournament, right? With
Yeah,
the
and people say 4-day tournaments, but it's really either a 2 or 3-day because except for Forest Park, if you win Thursday, you play Friday. But they do a job where you either play Thursday or Friday,
yeah,
and they've come into the situation where teams ask Thursday or Friday, and like you
I
like
agree with you. But
I can't play in the tournament unless I play Friday at 8 o'clock, right? I
I,
mean that's
yes, I agree with you. But you still, for the most part, you still have to book for 4 days. And
yeah,
what I
no, you
mean is
still do.
that, like right now, if you're planning to play in the North South tournament, you have to tell your wife, your girlfriend, your family that it's a 4 day tournament because you don't know if you're going to play Thursday or Friday.
So going back to Westchester would be tough to finish on a Saturday because you only have two diamonds. Schaumburg for the North South has 5 or 6. I mean,
Yeah.
that's very doable. I mean,
Well, I don't
and,
think the North South's going to be in Schaumburg this year. So
yeah. I mean,
I
it
think
is yeah.
there's a good chance it might go back to Berwyn. I haven't heard anything yet. Haven't really talked to anybody about that, but there's a good chance it might go back to Berwyn where it originated. I
And
think,
and that tournament on Friday night in Berwyn used to get Forest Park type crowds. I'll tell you, I remember going there as a kid on a Friday night at North South, and that park would be rocking. And
yes.
that shitty diamond you'd have to play on with the lights, you couldn't see shit.
Uh, that's the diamond we're going to put Hall of Fame on when they come.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Sam, you do not want to play on this diamond. It is one of the worst diamonds in the history of softball. You can't see anything. You're blinded out there in the outfield.
They're too bright.
Yeah. There's just no lights, right, Jim? I mean, you've been
yeah.
playing.
So when I had to pitch behind, or when I had to play defense behind Will this year, and there was rockets going past us, we couldn't see them. We couldn't see the ball.
Jimmy attempted to play defense, and he was at short center. And let's
Dude,
just say I was
I
pitching,
had
and
some
I had to cover
stellar.
both holes.
I had some stellar performances behind you.
Yeah. No, that was a fun league. I think we lost to the worst team in the league 3-2 on that diamond, and then we got knocked out
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, in the playoffs.
in the playoffs.
Oh, that was too bad. Too bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So go
That's
ahead,
good.
Sam. Let's see if your mic's all right now. Go ahead.
Good.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Is he choppy for you, or is he okay?
Yeah, he was kind of talking when you were talking. Try again.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me now? You're good.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Sam.
My next question. So you just obviously spent a lot of time like kind of around your dad and get to experience like some of the decisions he makes and seeing him coaching. From like a coaching standpoint or like managerial standpoint, what do you think's like a biggest lesson you've learned on kind of how he does things or the biggest takeaway?
So I was lucky enough when Wags, he used to do the book for Flash, and he got sick during COVID. So I kind of took over the book. So I was able to, I with Jibs and my dad. My dad started it was mostly Jibs, and then my dad started coming out around 2021. They would talk about lineups and stuff, but Jibs mostly does it. So me and Jibs, I would write the book out. I do the roster, and it's just like the one thing that I've realized for Flash is it might sound a little complicated how I say it, but we talked about earlier is when they pinch hit Jibs and Moji, they'll pinch hit a player in the catcher or extra hitter role so they can get one more time through the lineup. It's kind of weird how you say it. Teams start to do it, but like if Moji and Jibs are in the 11th spot and their spot comes up, but they're in control of the game. They'll save the hitter for the 3 or 4 hitter, and they can always put Jibs or Moji in that 3 or 4 spot. It's kind
Yeah.
of sounds complicated, but Moji kind of figured it out a couple of years ago when he came to the team, and him and Jibs are always talking about it, like how can we save this player another at bat by putting them into a catcher or EH role because they could just put somebody behind the plate.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of like that. So seeing that on a managerial is pretty like wow. I was like I never thought of it that way and how they could save a player's life to have another at bat. So seeing that, but just seeing how I was like 20, 21, seeing one of the top teams, how Jibs handles it and how my dad handles it, and it's pretty cool. Just cool to read the lineup off, see how everyone is going to me, like when they could pinch hit or you get that substitution on the other team. So no, it was pretty fun. And then we got JP, obviously, might have been the best pickup into the history of softball. The guy's brought us just tournament after tournament, and then he's going to co-ed tournaments and Nicky Lopez tournament, and he's in the team picture. I mean, we might click on Facebook tonight and he won some dome tournament and co-ed out in Jimmy's dome, all that guy does is win.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. All he does is win. So it's incredible.
He's got those crazy pants on, and he's squatting down in the middle of the picture, right by home plate all the time. We're like, oh, JP won another one, crossed another one off the board.
Probably the best flash pickup in the last 10 years.
Yeah, no, he's been great, and I don't have to do the book anymore, so I don't have to show up. So that was great.
So I just, because we had some comments come in about the tournament thing. We were talking about tournaments and different formats. Mark Manizzi here says, I would love to see a Grant Park round robin with all those fields.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool in the center of the city. I know obviously that's where softball originated, but at the same time, I think that'd be a really cool format.
Jim, tell Sam a little bit about Grant Park, because it was more around your time, right?
Yeah, well, I when I started, it was the last 2 years of the tournament. So Grant Park basically is, I don't know if I had to guess, probably 10 plus fields. And they ran, it was like 64 team tournament. And
in the heart of the city.
In the heart of the city. And it was pretty badass. And there was a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
The one bad thing negative about it is like you could be playing left field, standing behind the pitcher on the other diamond. Fields are so close. But outside of that, I mean, it was just a cool environment, a cool atmosphere. We also had someone else say about El Mag. I want to bring this up because next weekend out in Arizona, I believe he's having it in Mesa this year. They moved the location. It's not next to the Arizona Cardinals facility anymore. He's running the tournament, what he does for toys, which is an awesome tournament, charity tournament that he puts together. He's been doing it, I believe, 10 plus years. We put a fun group team in there. We have a blast all weekend long, but we really enjoy playing in the tournament.
Are you with CJ?
Yeah, we go with CJ.
I was gonna say, I didn't know if, like, since you're on the 45s now, I didn't know if you made the cut to be on March or not. So that's why I was. No, I didn't know because I just thought.
No, I'm with a team that we started, so you know what I mean.
Yeah,
which is fine by me.
Yeah,
so I don't need my flights paid to go to Arizona. All right.
Yep.
But yeah, but that tournament is a great tournament, and I know he does it for a good cause. And El, obviously being a board member over on the Hall of Fame side, Chicago Hall of Fame for softball, he does a great job with that. So that does start. That is a week from Saturday. Are you going to be out there, Will?
I will not be out there, but I will be out in Yuma again, as I booked my flight, I think yesterday or 2 days. So I will be heading back to Yuma, and I did say I would never go back there when that umpire blew that damn call in our quarterfinal game. And I sat there and I was like, I'm never going back, but I'm coming back with a purpose.
Hopefully you guys have a chance to get to the final this year, huh?
Yeah. I was too busy getting into arguments with Jeff Mustari and Timmy over McNuggets in the back of our hotel. I'll tell you a quick story. So we're sitting there, it was Sunday night, and we lost. And Jeff Mustari, he's the third baseman for the 45, Sam. Young upcoming player. Jimmy's gonna get to play with him this year. And we're sitting there, and Jeff comes back with McDonald's. So he's got 2 10-packs of McNuggets, 10 and 10. So I look at him. I go, Scamacey was there too. I go, why didn't you just get the 20 McNuggets? And he goes, oh, I just got 2 10s. I go, well, you could have saved $3 with 20. And Jeff's like, oh no. So I keep going at him. I'm like, Jeff, this is so stupid. It's Timmy. Now Timmy's getting involved. Will's like, what are you talking about, Will? I'm like, 20 McNuggets, you could save $3. Like, it's pretty smart. Like, get the 20. And now Scamacey like falls over and he starts laughing. He's like, why are we even talking about this? And I'm just like, well, I was drunk, he was drunk, and we were going at it. So it was funny. So Timmy brings that story up all the time.
I'm sure Timmy was asking for a nugget or two too.
Oh yeah, Timmy was on one that night.
All right, so Will, before I get to rapid fire, do you have another question for my guy, Will, here, Sam? Because you've had 2 excellent questions.
I got maybe a question for you both at the end if you want to do that. Otherwise,
Yeah,
All
we
right.
can
we can
do it
save
now
that.
if you want.
And we'll save it to the end. So let's get in the rapid fire. Will, I believe you've seen rapid fire before. You know how it works. I give you a name, you say a sentence or two or one word about this individual. We don't need a rant unless it's a hilarious story. One or two sentences would be perfect. All right.
Got it.
So number 10 on the list, I had to put him at number 10, and that's our boy Zoe.
Zoe, good teammate, good slot partner. Gonna miss him on the team.
Yes. Number 9, Danny Dispenza.
Another good slot partner.
Danny Dispenza plays slots?
Oh,
No.
you didn't know that?
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
I know I'm joking, but great pickup. Was happy he came over from Feta. Outstanding hitter, and it feels like every time he gets injured in a tournament, we always seem to lose.
Good call. Number 8. This is probably one when you were in diapers. Nicky Marchese.
Nicky Marchese, great guy, great. I remember. I'll tell you a quick story. He went when Flash lost in no gloves on Sunday to get knocked out. The Roadrunners slaughtered him. Marchese grabbed the ball in center field. He fired it over the fence onto the highway. And we all the kids were like, we were like 10 years old. We're like, he just hit somebody in the car. But yeah, Marchese fired it. I remember Ryan talked about it on the show, but he had one of the best arms. He could throw anybody out from anywhere.
Oh yeah, and you know what's funny? I had the privilege of playing with him, and he was, in good terms, he was a motherfucker, dude. He was awesome. Yeah, great dude. Number 7, Jake Olson.
Jake Olson used to always come by the night of the Hall of Fame and spend the night, and me and him would be playing. We'd be playing video games against each other, and he would kill me in any game. FIFA, if it was Madden, we'd be playing video games. He was still one of my dad's great friends. You know, good hitter, and he was a part of that Miller team, which was competitive for all those years. So
Yeah,
I don't know if Sam ever had the chance to play against Miller. I don't. Miller ended like in 2016 or 17, Jim, but
probably. I'd say even before that.
And you know who went to that team to run that team before it went into last year? I think it ended. Your guy,
Ooh.
Patty Caputo.
No wonder why it ended.
And I give him shit to this day. I said, you ruined a great team, Pat.
No wonder why it ended.
Yeah, no wonder why. Yeah.
Number 6, your boy Jibs.
Jibs. Jibs was really fun to go out with him. And those years I was doing the book, I really got to know Jibs. We would talk things over. He would even ask me about some things like, what do you think? You know, it was really cool. Great manager. And that's why he wins.
Right. Number 5, the Birdman.
The Birdman, the most watched softball video of all time. I just wish he prepared himself more to show up to the games. We could have used him this year. He was our manager for our fall ball team, and we needed him that last game of the year, and he let us down. So I just want him to know that if he's watching, and I'll send him a text tonight, or he'll blow up our group chat like he always does for 30 texts on a Friday night. So.
Yeah, you ain't lying there. 30 is probably a little low. Number 4, Timmy Kornikowski.
Timmy, never knew Timmy until the last year, the 4th of July tournament. Me and my dad were talking WWE at the Mount Greenwood, and Timmy came by, knew everything about WWE. We talked. We got to become best friends. He was texting me picks for sports that always lost, so I'd always go back. But no, then we broadcasted and that night in what's the tournament Padilla runs in the Wisconsin Dells. I remember Timmy walked by at 7:30 in the morning. Me and Ryan just got there, and I had a case of Trulies, and Timmy walked over and just grabbed one. Like we were about, like I didn't even know who he was still at the time. He just grabbed one out of the car. Ryan goes, I go, Ryan, who is that? He goes, oh, you know him. That's all he said.
And I want to say that you and him were partners out in Yuma.
Yes, we were partners on the show, and that's why I'm a little mad Donnie was in here tonight, because Donnie made it, I think, through the quarterfinal game with us, and he didn't want to stay up for the semifinal and final. So I was going to give him some shit. was gonna give him some shit tonight, but
He was doing it remote from here with
yeah,
you
he was
guys.
doing it for remote, and he kept going in and out. And then he texted me, he goes, "You guys can handle it." And we had a couple hundred people watching, Jim. That was great.
I remember watching those. Now you guys were super
Yeah,
entertaining. That was a good time
yeah.
watching those broadcasts. That
Oh
was
yeah.
fun.
No, it's definitely gonna be a good time for sure. Before we get to the top 3, I got to get over to the audience really quick. Hold on one second. I just want to see who joined. So I don't see any audience questions for you yet, Will. They're getting there. It says, my nephew, what up, my nephew, Maddox? So I'm assuming that's probably, we got our boy Stephen John on here. He says, Will looks skinny.
Yeah.
He says, who? Stephen John also says, who the fish will? who the fish will? So
that's Drew Lading's guy, Steve. That's Drew Lading's guy. He when he went on those Iowa rants and during COVID.
Oh yeah. So him and Drew are good guys.
Yeah, I think Drew scared the shit out of him at one of the tournaments. He put his arm around him. He's like, I didn't know if you. I think he knew that he was Justin's dad, but Drew was joking with him. I guess it's a pretty good story.
Really?
Yeah. No, like not scared, just like scared him in a funny way, not like he's gonna. I think Drew could tell you the story. I don't know, but I guess it was at one of the tournaments. I guess Steve was like, "Whoa!" He's like,
so. All right, so we're gonna get back into the top 3 here. So number 3, I think you know who it is if you watch the show, right? And and tonight's gonna be the last night that he's ever gonna be in the top 3. So we're gonna end it on you, Will.
Wait, can I get a beer before you say his name?
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
And that's your boy Gio.
Gio, like everyone, we all say, he's great for the game with the live streaming, and Gio does it all for the SSA. Him and Pat, the live streaming. I know you always ask this question at the end, like what, like could you change in softball or like improve in softball? And I think the live streaming is why the Westchester tournament, why the North South tournament, why even nationals, even Forest Park, that no one goes out anymore. Like you said, Forest Park crowds used to be big. The live streaming is great for the game. Players get to watch it. People that aren't there, but it just takes away the crowds, and that's just not the fun part. I think the crowds is the fun part of softball. People gambling on the game. Randy Nelson somewhere, you got to find him. To place something going on. But no, I think just going on the live streaming is just because Gio does that and he invented the live streaming into softball. And I'm doing it. Jimmy, you do it. Donnie does it. Different sites and all. It's good for the game, but it just takes away the crowds and the fun, I think, in a play perspective. And you two have been playing, major softball for the last 10 years or so. So I think you two could answer to that too. Like the live streaming takes away the crowds, and I think the crowds are more the fun part.
Yeah.
Because everyone can't wait for Forest Park to play on Thursday, even Thursday, Friday night. Just seeing that atmosphere as a player is just it's got to be awesome.
Yeah, and I'll go first, Sam, and I'll hand it over to you really quick. That's probably one of the main reasons why I think if you end it on Saturday, people will stay out. And I think because of the fact that it's a Saturday night, nobody's got to work on Sunday. Now, I'm not saying every tournament like we talked earlier in the show, but a majority of them, I think it'd be pretty cool, and I think you would see bigger crowds. I do.
Just
we
crowds in perspective as a player, Jimmy. I mean, it's just
right.
it brings a different, it fires you up more.
It does. You're 100% right. When you're playing in Forest Park and you're playing in front of people, hence one of the reasons why we go to Yuma, right?
Yeah. No, and it's an away crowd out there. You're playing, and it's fun.
3 years in a row, I've been booed like nobody's business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
no way you deserve it.
I got a fan club.
No
Sam.
way.
Don't worry. I got a fan club out in left field in Yuma. So they know me by 29. They don't know me by Uncle Jimmy yet, but I think they might now this year. So, but that's the whole point. I think to your point, Will, is like, yeah. I mean, does live streaming hurt the game? I don't know. I mean, I think
I,
it
I
hurts
would like to.
the crowd.
I would maybe test it for a tournament and go. All right, Gio, you live stream, but don't live stream it live. Post it later. Post it at the end of the tournament. See if there's a difference in if there's crowds or not. And that could be my answer to my final question when you always ask. See just one tournament. See, don't live stream it. You know, one of the big 5 tournaments. Post all of it. You can do it, but post it at the end.
Well,
Just see if that changes the difference in if people show up or not.
well, here's the other thing. I mean, could we switch it over to what 12-inch does, and that's description?
And like, no one wants to watch either of the 3 of us go up there, take 2 balls, foul one off. There's 2 minutes in between. Do it like Rosmondo did, and it's 16 minutes. And
Yeah.
look at the views they get on YouTube. And
Yeah.
it's just like, do it that way, maybe. And maybe the crowds will come out more.
The only problem with that is I don't think Gio is probably editing. You know, that's a lot of shit to edit.
No, that is, but
It does a lot of, it's a lot of work on that aspect, you know, to edit
yeah.
all that stuff. But
And
go ahead, Sam. Answer the question. You know, kind of give us your thought on what we're discussing.
Yeah, I think for us, actually, one thing like in the ISSA and from Iowa this year, something we're going to try to do more of actually is live streaming. Like as it is now, we really don't get a lot of fans at stuff. But for us, I think the purpose or our goal behind doing it more this year is to get more
yeah,
exposure to the game in the sense that it might not be direct impact on that weekend or that game or that championship, but kind of more like a long term effect where, especially hopefully with the goal of getting some 12-inch guys to convert in the sense of, how can we
yeah,
make this exciting? How can we get eyes on the game? So that's something we're going to try to do. And then, like you're talking about, what like Resmondo does in 12-inch with the video clips and stuff. I know that's something we're going to push this year too. And I think it'd be cool just for social media exposure with how big
yeah,
things is, even if it gets posted after the fact, like you're saying. 'Cause it's kind of cool seeing those 12-inch
yeah,
guys, go see those little 3-minute
yeah,
clips of those guys hit bombs or making backhands. And I think the same thing could happen with, I think it amazed a lot of people seeing a no glove play
yeah,
that's a sweet play thrown across the diamond. If we can get a 60-second clip of stuff like that, opposed to, like you're saying, a 4 hour
yeah,
long live stream of just 2 games or
yeah,
whatever. Exposure, I think, with where we're at in today's age and world with live streams and social media, I think it'd be like you're
yeah.
saying, clips and stuff. I think could go a long way in getting eyes on the
So
game.
we
Which
talk about,
I did
huh?
see. I did see Gio. I did watch a little bit of the 15 over game. He did get replays at it in this year, which
That's cool.
that's pretty cool. So
That's awesome.
I did see
Yeah.
that. So that's a plus. I mean, but Jimmy, you can continue. I mean,
No, what I was gonna say is that since you brought up the replays, are we gonna see a challenge coming down the road and games live streaming?
yeah, I get a challenge out there. I know. What if Mudville was playing Mudville? You got to get a call, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, well, Team Mudville versus
Team
Mudville.
Mudville versus Mudville. That would be.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
But the thing with him doing the replay, I think, is pretty cool. I wonder with the amount of times that our umpires do blow calls. Umpires are my favorites, as you know. I get along with all of them.
No, I was waiting for umpires to get brought up tonight just because I'm at every tournament, Jim. I'm setting up for the SSA. I'm doing banners. I'm doing Game Changer. I see the umpiring. And it's amazing. It amazes me that every tournament should have 2 umpires in a tournament game. Thursday, Fridays at the mid tournaments, North, South, Westchester. There's usually only 1 umpire. They're going to miss a call, and it could be a big call, but they still only send 1 umpire out there.
Yeah.
And I think that in those tournaments, in those big of tournaments, there should be 2, and they should be able. Some of them don't like overturning calls, Jim. You know that some there should be some kind of I think they did a clinic last year, but every umpire's, you two knows, every umpire strike zone is completely different.
Yeah.
You go up there, this umpire lets the ball go up to 12 feet. This guy calls illegal a lot, So that's just you got to know it, and you got to know the umpires. You really got to know the umpires, I think, in the playing perspective.
Oh yeah.
And it's tough for Sam just because just Iowa. You guys only play a couple times a year, but Jimmy, you should know every umpire, and every umpire just can't wait to throw you out of a game.
Thank you.
Those are the guys sitting in left field down here
Yeah.
on it's the Chicago umpires.
So, Will, I mean, you portrayed me as such a bad person, Will.
Yeah.
But that being, let's get back to what I was going to say, and that was in regards to tournaments and kind of what we were talking about before. We mentioned the different formats and the different things and the live streaming and this, that, and another. I think that the live streaming of the tournaments, I think to a point is good for softball because it does bring more awareness around the game, but it doesn't bring the attendance.
Live streaming, we've seen it all. I mean, Gio's been doing games since 2018, and it's only going to get it's going to keep going up in likes and stuff, and and you guys continue to get bigger with your show. Gio continues to get bigger with SSA. More people are seeing it. Hopefully, Iowa gets it going up and up there, and obviously 12-inch has it. I'm just saying, I mean, let it post the videos at the end of a tournament one time and see if people show up. See if people stick around. Oh, there's no games going to be live on Facebook. Maybe we'll stick around for this game.
So Tim Dalton, he posted a video on our page right now on this chat of the Forest Park Moneyline game from last year. Obviously we'll play it when we get off the air for those fans that are watching to play it now on their own, but I guess it must have been a pretty bad call is what he posted on there. Park tournament of last year. But getting into here about Sunday crowds, crowds are done on Sundays at Forest Park. I went last year. We're going to McKenna on Wednesday. So basically what he said here is, I love Drew, make Iowa great again. So our boy Steven John's fucking with him. I love it. So,
he's probably got a couple. He's probably got a couple on him too.
Oh, I bet he does. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Well, let's get over to the last question, and then I know you have questions for us. So you kind of already touched on a little bit. Let's get into it. You know the question. What is one thing you change in softball to make the game better? Whether it's bring something in new or something that's existing currently going on. So give us your answer.
I've kind of given up my answers throughout the show. I mean, I think a band on a Saturday night would be perfect at any tournament.
Yeah.
Forest Park no, you don't need to do it there, but just something to draw. My big thing is crowds, that's the interest in the players. You're playing Saturday night, in a tournament, you want to be playing in front of a couple hundred. In Forest Park, you're playing in a couple thousand people. So I just think that's the big goal is you have to draw crowds, and maybe that we just talked about it for the past 10 minutes with the live streaming, and if you hold it and you still post it later, I mean, there's not much. I mean, there's really not much you can do. I mean, just because it's the same 5 tournaments, and maybe they'll change it to a different place here and there. The North-South's the only thing that moves. Nationals has been out in Joliet. I mean, Nationals on Friday night gets a really good crowd with the All-Star game, and they should run that All-Star game every year because people stick around, and when people have hotels out there. So that's the key. Crowds, and how good of a complex in Joliet do you have when there's a bar in the middle of the complex?
Right.
And we played Rosmondo last year, and still there was barely any people at the game. That just shows you how much live streaming's done. I mean, there were people there. The girls were going on. That's a great thing they did last year with the girls. I was able to announce a couple games. That's a great thing. Maybe bring that more, because I think they had 8 teams last year. So maybe run a tournament during the North-South if there's diamonds to bring more people to the game. Maybe a girls tournament and more of the shit. Because I remember the park was loud where the girls were playing and where we were playing. It was just back and forth noise, which was cool. But Joliet has the best park. I mean, with the bars in the middle, with Chad Harold watching Iowa Hawkeyes down 50-0 to Iowa State. So you got that going on.
So you mentioned nationals and what we do at nationals. What I would like to see this year with Rosmondo, Roofx, and some of these 12-inch teams that are going to be coming to play major nationals this year.
Do 12-inch versus 16-inch.
Well, not even that. What I was getting into was the home run derby.
Oh,
And I want to see with more 12-inch guys coming. Well, first off, we have to shorten it. Like I was telling Tyler last year, we got to shorten the distance of the fence. I
yeah,
mean, you want guys to hit home runs, not guys to hit one bouncers off the fence. I mean, they had it at like 250 feet,
yeah,
which is still a great poke. It should be at about 230, right? But at the same time, have the money ball be a 12-inch ball. I think people will stay around to watch even guys in our game hit a 12-inch
yeah,
ball. I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine like Jake Reynolds, like Al Rice, like guys that are monster people
yeah,
that can hit a 12-inch ball? You know, even Manzella, like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like guys like that. Obviously, we know what Holstein used to do with a 12-inch ball,
yeah,
but I also think it'd be really cool to see the Rismondo guys hit a 12-inch ball, and that would be your money ball. And I think that money ball would be worth, you know, whether it's 2 home runs, 3 home runs, whatever you put the tally at.
yeah.
I just think it'd be really fucking cool to watch those guys swing at a 12-inch.
Yeah, I don't remember watching much of the home run derby last year because I think Notre Dame was playing A&M, so I was in the middle of the bar.
Yeah.
Notre Dame did win that game, by the way, but I think how did it go? I saw, didn't they have kids out there shagging? They had I think they had personal pitchers, right? Jimmy, you probably had a pitch for a couple of the
Yeah.
guys because I know people were teeing off balls for me last year, so you had to be a celebrity pitcher for a couple of the guys.
No, they were actually looking for you. They couldn't
Yeah,
find you.
yeah. I probably couldn't even find it that time.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
no,
yeah,
yeah. So I only stayed for the first round, and I want to say handful of guys hit it over. It wasn't many in the first couple rounds. I know that. The one dude from Rismondo got in a groove later in the home run
Yeah.
derby, but I don't think early on. I mean, you were out there, Sam.
Yeah, I stayed for the whole thing, and like you're saying, especially with that kind of being the first, like being early in the night for like some of the Resmondo guys, it took them a little bit to figure out. But by the end, I mean, those guys were once they figured it out and got a groove, like you're saying. But definitely early on, it was a lot of the guys were hitting. 2 was a good
yeah.
number in the first
Right.
round,
Which
and
which isn't fun to watch. You want to
No,
see 7, 8,
yeah,
9, 10. So I
well,
think,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
like,
saying. If you
yeah,
shorten the fence, you make it 230.
yeah,
I think you're going to see more home runs, and 230 is still a pretty good distance. Even if you put it at 225, you're still going to see. You still got to hit it at 230. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're not just most of those guys got to hit at 230, pop or whatever, but you're seeing more home runs, and then that 12-inch ball being the money ball, I think it'd be really cool.
yeah.
So,
No,
well, Will,
I think stuff like that was good for softball too. Like, I mean, even you know, bring out a speaker and throw Jimmy on a mic and let him commentate it. Like during the home run derby,
yeah,
let him, have someone announcing it, kind of talking a little smack and making it
yeah,
fun and like making the noise, like you guys are saying. Like, bring the attention into stuff like that. I think that's stuff's all that help get eyes on the game and like keep people
yep,
that
around.
that's a good point because Forest Park's the only tournament that has a PA announcer that says your name when you walk up. I mean,
Yeah,
I think if you bring that into the games, like nationals for sure. I think maybe the All-Star game, Maddie Dozen was doing it, but I think it was a shitty speaker and you could barely hear him. I think they did the anthem off of it, and I don't think
yeah.
you could hear it much. I mean, so I think if you bring that in, now coming up to the bit, to the plate, Jim Moretti, the shortstop or something, that'd be cool.
I mean, even for championship games or
Yeah,
like you're saying, the home run derby or something like, bring some attention to it for sure. Like, I think part of it is make it an
yeah,
event. No matter if it's Sunday or Saturday night, like how do you make that exciting? Bring attention to it. Make it feel like a championship
yeah.
environment.
we
Instead of like hearing, oh, look at all the people out in the look at number 32 on Rosmondo actually saying his name, knowing who he is, just
right.
saying that instead of saying, oh, look at that big guy on Rosmondo. Well, there's 6 of them, if they know his name, if they're announcing it over the speaker, you know who he is.
When we were in Yuma, I was literally standing right behind home plate, and I was ripping on guys on the live stream, swinging 12-inch balls. And Nate actually ended up beating one of the guys that plays 12-inch in the final.
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. And I will be doing that this year. So, Will, if you're out there on Friday night, you
Yeah.
could join me behind the camera.
Yeah.
All right, if you get the permission of the SSA to help to come out,
I gotta make some
with this
phone.
fierce competitor. You know what I
I
mean?
gotta make some phone calls tonight, Jim. I'll get back to you.
All right, you let me know. So, make sure you put your thong on too when you make those calls. All right.
uh,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Sam. I know at the end you had a question for us, and I want to hand it over to Will for his questions.
Yeah, I know I asked you guys this one last year, you and Donnie. Who do you think? What's Chicago team do you think makes the biggest jump this year in the sense of competitiveness? Like, who's the surprise team coming up, and who do you think steps back the most?
Go ahead, Will.
I'll start with Iron. Iron last year picking up CJ and a couple of the signature guys, but they were originally smack out guys. Jimmy knows that, but I think them and think all their kids now that are my age are officially out of college, and that would always suck for them because every year you look and see Iron in the A Nationals and you're like, oh, they're going to win it, but then you got to remember they're missing 4 or 5 starters, and Danny's, SSA is telling Danny to bring a team out there, and he's got 10 or 11 guys. Donnie would know that if he jumped on because he was a part of
Mhm.
the Iron team, but I think Iron's going to take a huge step this year. I think last year they were 2 years ago they were probably top 15. Last year I think they got into the top 10, and I think this year they could keep moving their way up. So I look at them, and a team that I always like just because they're a bunch of group guys is Dynasty. I hope Dynasty can continue, play, get better, and hopefully see themselves in maybe a Final Four of a tournament this year.
But really quick, I want to go back. We never finished a rapid fire. I
Oh,
got two guys left. We
oh,
got stuck on Geo and we totally switched. So number 2 is Bobby Russ and Randy Russ. That's number 2. So go ahead.
so we talked about them. Yeah, growing up watching them, great. We always bust their balls. We're always, we're having fun, and yeah, my dad is still, I coached first base in Yuma last year, and I got Scamacey thrown out in the last inning at
Yeah.
second base, and let's just say I got chewed out for that. No, so they're both still competitive as they can be with my sister and Randy's daughter, and they're still the same. It's just like they were on the softball field. Now they're just watching their kids play, and they're the same type of intensity.
And number 1, I had to put this at number 1
I,
because
I
he's your
yeah.
brother, right? I mean, Ryan Russ. So tell me about your
Ryan,
brother, the guy you look up
Ryan.
to.
Oh, I've gone to, like I said, when he joined Flash, I was at every game. I'd go there and we drive there, and I wouldn't ride with my dad. I went ride with Ryan, and we just talk shit about my dad. But we just do that, and no, it's great. Really, really put on muscle last year. He struggled hitting a couple of years ago, and now he's really turned himself into a really good hitter. Everyone knows he's really good defensively. So he keeps taking the stride every year, and I just keep watching it. So it's fun. It's fun to watch because he's really taken on the role as one of the best left fielders in softball.
Yeah, no, he really has, and good point. And want to say thank you to Jake out there. Jake reminded us of he wanted to hear the final 2 of the
Jake
rapid fire.
Olson,
No,
uh,
McTeague.
Jake Teague,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
I
want to throw that
thought
out
for
there.
sure you're gonna hit me with emoji or a PJ of the crew, but
No, no,
you didn't get.
I left those 2 off because I know that you're with them. They're your butt buddies, and I don't want you to say anything bad
Yeah,
because I don't want them to get upset.
yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah, you got it.
All right.
So
So
now you're up. Who's your sleeper team this year?
yeah, so my sleeper team this year to actually jump into the top 4. I think they're going to make a leaps and bounds. They had a great year last year. I would say they were probably a top 8 team last year, but I see them in the top 4 this year, and that's March. I think March is they've picked up some more good players. They've added some depth to the team now. They have speed. Obviously, they have 3 guys that I played with on Hex when we've had some of our very good years when I was on the Hex team. So I think that they're going to be a top 4 team all year long. And I mean, last year they finished top 5 in a lot of the tournaments, in some of them. So, but I would consider them a 7 to 9 top team. I think they're going to make a big jump this year to go into basically the
Yeah,
top four.
they got screwed last year out of a bye, right? And then they beat BTA, who ended up getting that bye or something at Forest Park. I
Yeah.
think
So
I think they
Yeah.
beat them. I think they beat BTA 4 times in tournaments last year. I think they had their
Yeah.
number.
yes, and they beat
Yeah,
them in Forest Park too. They slaughter
yeah,
rolled, or I
yeah.
think they slaughter rolled them in
They
Forest Park.
almost beat Flash. They beat Flash beat March 6-5 and it was a really good game. March, it's always competitive. They got a good young team, and like you said, they're only going to get better.
So yeah, so that's the team that I think is going to make the leap. The team that's going to take a step back, that's a tough one because
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
are you looking? You're talking major level or A level?
Either way.
I'll go first, Jim. Just
Go ahead.
I know I thought for sure I was wrong about this. I thought Hex would maybe take a step back, but when they won the dome, I was completely wrong. I know Battistoni's probably watching. I'm sorry, but I just thought losing you, you were one of the best hitters on that Hex team. I just thought maybe
They lost Robbie.
lost Robbie, and I just thought Kurt was a huge stay. I thought there was rumors that he was going to leave and maybe go to Circus. So him staying, I think, kept the glue together because he's such a talented left fielder and he could hit.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So him staying really helped Hex come back together, and they won the Dome League
yeah.
and they beat Signature, and so I think I was wrong about that, and I don't know. I mean, other than that, I was wrong about that.
I
Obviously,
mean, obviously the season hasn't started yet, right? So, I mean, obviously you would think Hex, but they picked up some good players. I
yeah,
think.
Sauce. I know. Yeah, Sauce was a
I
good
think
A
the
team.
thing with Hex is the fact that they need to committed guys.
Yeah,
I think some of the guys they picked up might not be as talented or might not be, but they're committed, and so that's going to make up for what they've lost. I think offensively they're going to struggle a little bit, but defensively I think they're going to improve drastically
so
with
so,
their depth.
so yeah. Now after saying that and thinking about other teams, I think you would have to say if a team's going to take a step back, Jimmy, you would have to agree with me. I think Moneyline is the team that would probably take a step back.
So you think money line, huh?
I think, I just think I think they lost a couple of key players in Drew Chaveria. I don't know what is Eric Mandarino. Is he back with
He's
Moneyline?
back with them
Oh,
now.
so that's the key. So I haven't been in the loop as much, but I just
Yeah,
but they play one league, so it's kind of tough to. It's when you play in one league, it's kind of tough to say how you did on your season because you played in 5 tournaments, you only played in one league. I think the
Interesting.
teams that play in 2 leagues have 2 chances of do we have a good season or a bad season. In Forest Park, we went 13-2, but in Melrose, we went 6-4. You can at least say, oh, we did bad in Melrose, but the Forest Park League, you were fantastic in. So I think that's 2 leagues is you get more games in.
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, I agree with you there, and I think I don't know the team that would take a step back for me. I'm still trying to think of some of those lower level teams because I know that some of those lower level teams,
Yeah.
jump around quite often. Like, I mean, does the Fat Kids, obviously they're taking a step up, going from A to major. Are they going to have as much success as they
Yeah.
did? You know, I don't know. I mean, it's not really taking a step back because they're really taking a step up in competition to play in the
For
major
sure.
league.
I mean, when's the last time a team took this big of a step? I mean, and
The
stayed a
Demons.
lot and stayed up. Demons did, and they worked out for 2 or 3 years, and they're not a team anymore.
Yeah.
Smackout was always on the verge of A major. One year they were major, one year they were A. I mean, after it's all said and done, March is probably they missed No Gloves 2 years ago, and now they're in the top 8 of softball.
All right.
So you don't see it much. I mean, Hall of Fame Concessions was an A team 3-4 years ago. Now they're competing in all the big tournaments. So
Well, they
there's
got
not
my guy Sam Rogers. Of course they are.
of course. But yeah, I know. Just looking at it, I
I'm a
mean, not
morale guy.
teams because not teams that make the big step always succeed because there's always the 45s, the signatures, the flashes, the hex. The teams that have been around as the major powerhouses, the last high Y BTA. They're just you got to be able to beat the powerhouse
So,
teams.
and you know what? Since we're on the same question, I'm going to say this. I think the Pharaohs are going to make a big jump this year too. Based
Yeah.
on what I'm hearing, who they've picked up, they had a
Oh,
good team last year.
I
So
forgot Circus in the powerhouses. So before Tim, I Circus. Yeah, I forgot
yeah,
about that.
well, Circus is another team that only plays one league.
Yeah, they do.
My
But
understanding, they're not going to play major nationals this year. So what I'm
yeah,
hearing,
which is sad for the game. I think just
yeah,
one of your top teams not being there just shows you what more can you do for the game of softball if one of your
right.
top teams isn't even going to play major nationals. That just yeah.
So Will, this is the turn. We hand it over to you. Do you have any questions for both Sam and I?
I'm just what is the goal for Iowa this year, and what tournaments you guys are coming down, and how many teams are coming on making the trip? I know you guys have usually done North, South, and National, and all three tournaments you guys usually do, and it's usually just Hall of Fame and Chucks, right? Is any other team going to take the big step, or
I mean, F Town, came to major nationals
yeah,
last year and had some success, which was good for Iowa. I think for us, it'll matter most which teams are going to be considered major and which ones are going to be considered A. Like F Town, for instance, played A nationals and played major nationals. They didn't win A nationals last year, but then also had success at major nationals. So, what are they going to be allowed to play in? I think will be the big thing.
yeah,
I think Punch this year, I could see them coming to major nationals. They won't be called Punch this year, but the team, that kind of group of guys, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they make the trip. Like us and Chucks will still come to North South or Midsummer Classic. Obviously hope to get the
yeah,
No Glove bid and come to major nationals.
yeah,
Um, Other than that, I mean, we sent 6 teams to A nationals last year, which is great.
yeah.
Um,
No, that's a tournament I wish that more people would go out to, because I'm usually out in Carroll Stream for that A tournament, and that net like championship on Sunday. There's maybe 5 people, 10 people watching the game.
I wonder.
Yeah, I'm not bringing it up, and that's a big tournament. That's 32 teams, and
yeah.
that's a tough. That's the biggest tournament of the year.
You
But
end that
yeah,
pitch on Saturday night, you'd have probably 1,000 people out there watching.
yeah, you have 4 diamonds. They do games hour and a half, but I just don't see any. I mean, I'm there doing stuff for the SSA all weekend, and there's just it comes down to Sunday, and nobody wants just go live stream it, right, and just go watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed in the park, but I mean, handful of years ago when I went out there with the Rats, it was a great tournament.
yeah. No,
So
it's probably fun as a player. Just I mean, you guys have both played at that complex.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have both won in A nationals, I think, at that complex. I mean, it's a
yeah,
great complex. They had the major nationals there a couple of years, but yeah, just the crowd's never there.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's yeah. No, I mean, you're 100% right.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But now going to my question for Uncle Jimmy,
uh oh,
I'm
this is gonna be a good one.
when me and you you know did the thing for the Hall of Fame, and me and you were wearing matching ties, and we stole the show. And we talked about a little bit, Izzy, about coming to the 45s. How are you? I just want to know what's your mindset going into the season. How are you feeling? Are you feeling more pressure? Are you feeling less pressure? Are you gonna Are you thinking you're gonna be more of a role than you were on Hex with the 45s? I know you might not want to answer this honestly, but just how you feeling?
I'm gonna tell you honestly, I don't
Yeah,
why I wouldn't, right?
yeah,
Uh, do I feel more pressure? No. It's still the game of softball. I played with a lot of these guys. So, it's still got that new team thing, right? Still haven't got a jersey or hat, but that's okay. They say it's on
Oh,
the um,
yeah,
you know, you know, it is what it is on that aspect, but I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, what my expectations, obviously, we're going to win. I mean, that's the whole
yeah,
point. We're going to win. That's my mindset is we're going to go there and we're going to win. I mean, that's, I don't know. Last year, I think they won the North Snow. What did they win last year?
they
North.
won the North South.
Yeah. So they didn't win Forest Park. They didn't win major nationals. And so I would like to at least I'd like to win everything, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's the point of going there.
that's a good mindset, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's my mindset. And, I know Izzy, everyone's like, oh, Izzy's going to pitch. You know what? I think Izzy in the long run is going to play who's the best players. And if that's Izzy on the mound and he feels he's the best, he's the power of the pen.
yeah,
And and I'm going to find somewhere else to play. I'm not too really concerned about that as much as people think. I just,
Yeah.
To me, and I told Nate, and I told Izzy, and I told, I don't know, whoever else, like Ram and those guys that called me about it. And I just said flat out, like, I'm going there to win. And if I bat first, second, last, doesn't make a difference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. And I think on that team, I think we're going to be very solid defensively. We picked up a couple. We picked up Vitter too, Scotty. He's going to add some pop to our lineup as well. And I think last year, one of the main things that kind of hurt them in some of the tournaments was offensively they didn't have the firepower.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I think last year for the 45s was one of their down years for hit offensively. I mean, with they lost Yaris right off the bat. I mean,
Right.
he's a 3-hitter right there. I mean,
Right.
who can hit a single homer or whatever he wants to do. So losing that hurt the team obviously, and then I think him Yaris not playing last year, I think, put a lot more pressure on PJ and Jeff, just
Yeah.
because they were the two younger guys that were batting 2 and 4 on that team. So I think Jeff got a lot of pressure batting 4, and I think PJ a lot of pressure batting 2, just because Anthony and Nate have been batting 1 and 3 just for so many years now. They're used to it. I think just putting PJ and Jeff in that spot last year was putting a
Yeah.
lot of pressure on them. So
Yeah.
I think this year I think Jeff will become one of the top players in softball like he did last year. He's only going to continue to get better.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited to play with him. I'm excited to play with Chucky too. I think Chucky's a good dude. I know that, he has a temper. I know I've yelled at him once or twice on the field before, but now he's on my side. You know how guys are like when you play against them, they're different than when you play with them. So the same thing with Anthony. Anthony's balls to the wall type guy.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm most excited about is showing up to the park and us having the same 12, 13, 14 guys.
Out of the attendance rolls, Sam, the 45s, they're going to have the same 12 guys out there pretty much every night. And I do think Nate missed a lot of games last year because of work, I think.
Yeah.
Nate was – so I think they still won. They still were first in, I think, both leagues last year. They just have the same 12 guys that go out there. And that's why and like we talked about when I said earlier in the show, is if you win in your leagues, you have more confidence in tournaments.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been doing for years. So
yeah, and I think Izzy basically said we're all going to have an opportunity to find a role or to pitch, to hit, whatever it is. So I mean that I always tell Nate and Izzy that shit works itself out. You play the good players, the guys feel know who should be playing and who shouldn't be. We all, and so if it doesn't work out that way, where the guys on the field are not the best players playing, then that's a whole nother case, and that's something that
and that's what Sam asked about. And Sam asked about that earlier about like if you're guaranteed a spot when you join a new team, and then if you think you earn that spot and you're not getting it, that's when the team chemistry falls apart and people are whining, and that's when you start losing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much
am I going there knowing I'm going to hit? You better believe it. Like that's my confidence in myself. That's not me telling them that I need to bat here and play here. That's that's different. So like that's just the confidence in myself. Like I'm going there thinking I'm the best pitcher and one of the better hitters or one of the best hitters, right? So but that's confidence in me. That's not me saying negatively about anything else on the team. So it is what it is. But
I got one last question for you, Jim.
Sure.
So at the Hall of Fame for Chicago, you had that famous last question. Who's the most handsome guy in softball?
Yeah.
I'm just curious if you asked that because I think Jeff Berger might have won first, and you were a runner-up, Jim.
I was runner-up.
I wanted to just ask you: did you ask that question in Iowa, and did you take first?
So we actually had a different question in Iowa. Who was going to have the largest bar tab at Old Timers? And I believe Drew and Chad Harold were the two that finished 1-2 in that category.
I didn't know Chad Harold drank. I thought I'd never seen him with a beer in his hand before.
I tell you though, that Saturday night was the most money I've ever spent in old timers. I was,
Yeah.
north of $400 that night easily. So
Yeah, and shout out to Old Timers. I heard they got not like they got a shout out at the Hall of Fame for RB and those guys. So that was pretty cool to just to see. He put a nice Facebook post out there, so that was cool to see.
it was really cool, and
Yeah.
he's one of the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's incredible. Some of the guys on Team Jagoff asked me to ask RB to sponsor us when we go up there. I said, we're not doing that, dude.
You could get half your entry fee with Old Timer, and then get half your entry fee with Perkins, and you'd be good to go.
Perkins. That's true, because we close Perkins every night.
Yeah, it's a great spot because it's open 24/7, and it's right next to the hotel. Go get I think I got like a steak and eggs the last time I was there. It's always great.
It's funny.
It's a simple life coming to Marshalltown. You got Old Timer and Perkins.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But I definitely appreciate you coming on tonight. I definitely appreciate you giving us the time, Will. I know that you're busy on your SSA schedule, but I definitely appreciate you coming.
Well, wait. Pat's calling me. Do you think you can give me a second?
Yeah. Pat, I love Pat.
Yeah, no, but I hope he's watching right now. So yeah.
He will be. He'll be. If he heard something that bothered him, he'll be calling me tomorrow. So
yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure.
I appreciate it, Will. We're gonna.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It was fun.
Bet.
I'll sign off. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Will. So what'd you think, my man? What'd you think? I know it's kind of your first time getting to know Will a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, outside of hearing him talk on some live streams and stuff, that's kind of my first interaction with them, and I enjoy hearing them on the live streams. It's always fun, like hearing different voices and hearing different perspectives, especially like an Iowa guy listening to Chicago perspectives and how everyone knows everyone. So that's cool. Yeah, good kid.
I want to say thank you for filling in tonight for cousin Donnie. I know it's his birthday. I believe the wife's out spoiling him right now, so maybe she's massaging his feet, giving him a back rub. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be a new baby on the way in 2026.
Oh,
we don't know. So hopefully
he keeps wearing his jumpsuit.
Yeah, so he's probably out wearing that jumpsuit right now. It's probably the best outfit he owns. Of course, I had to buy it for him, but that's okay,
Yeah, that's all right.
But I appreciate you coming on, dude. I think it was a blast. I know that I want to have you on more in the future because I know you're going to be getting a lot of the Iowa things going out there. Yep. So I want you guys to use our platform to get more followers for Iowa as well. We all got to work together. It's not just
absolutely.
So, and as I told you before, even when you're in Iowa, if you want to use my platform for more people to watch Iowa softball, you just give me a call. Let me know. I have no problem with it. I know we're creeping up over I believe the 3,500 just on Facebook, but we have other YouTube and other platforms as well with Twitch that we're continuing to grow on as well. So once again, though, thank you so much, Sam. I definitely appreciate it. And
appreciate you having me on. Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Well, guys, I appreciate everyone watching the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie show, obviously with our special co-host tonight, Mr. Sam Rogers, sponsored by the Beacon Tap and Signature Transportation Group. So definitely thank you, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks. Thank you so much.